Good morning and welcome everybody, this great celebration. I'd also like to recognize the city council members that are here. I see Joan and Gabe, Polly, and I think that's it. But anyway, thanks for coming out. I'm Longmont Mayor Dennis Coons, and it's wonderful to see so many people here to celebrate another milestone in Longmont's journey of recovery. First, I want to acknowledge all the neighbors in Southmore Park. Not everyone in town has a creek like Left Hand Creek running right through their neighborhood. You've weathered a lot over the years, going way back to October 2011, when work started on the Left Hand Creek Flood Control Project. That successful project was finished in time to help minimize what could have been a much worse damage to some of your homes during the 2013 flooding. I know Dale Rademacher is going to speak more on that topic, but it has to feel great to have your park, pool, and neighborhood gathering place back. Thank you also to the staff and the students of Burlington Elementary School. Your input played a big role in helping design the relocated playground. The Longmont Sister Cities Association has a large group on hand here too, including visitors, delegations from Chino, Japan, and Ciudad Guzman, Mexico. Welcome. Kanemoto Park is one of the gems of our city, and I'm happy to be here with all of you to help rededicate it to the community. This entire park, including the renovated Tower of Compassion rising up behind me, can be seen as a metaphor for our city's larger flood recovery and protection efforts. When the floodwaters hit in 2013, some areas like the Kanemoto Pool were destroyed and had to be rebuilt. For others, like the playground, this meant relocating to better spots. Still other areas, like the beautiful Tower of Compassion, donated by the Kanemoto family, were not directly impacted by the flooding, but were renovated while other work was happening. Each of the 5 levels of the tower, love, empathy, understanding, gratitude of all things, and giving selflessly of oneself, represents the meaning of compassion. And as we approach the 3rd year anniversary of our city's massive flood event, our community continues to show that compassion for each other as we move forward with flood recovery into essential protection efforts. Thank you all for being here to take part in this great Longmont Resiliency Community Celebration. I would now like to introduce our Public Works and Natural Resource General Manager, Dale Rademacher.
Thank you, Mayor Combs. I appreciate that. And you know, for me, this is just really an honor to be able to stand here near the Tower of Compassion and look out and see all these folks and all of you from Longmont. To me, this really symbolizes what Longmont is. It's a community that stays together and comes together through adversity and through good times. And today is a good time. Today is a day of celebration. We're celebrating getting our park back. We're celebrating getting our pool back. I think back to the days after the flood when the pool was just barely teetering and ready to fall into the creek, and then of course it ultimately did. And we came out and met with the folks in Southmore Park, and we had options for them. You know, maybe we don't build back the pool, maybe we build back just a water feature. But you know, the folks in Southmore Park were very clear with us, very clear. They wanted their pool back, and I think they deserve their pool back. And I hope they're happy with the new one that we've been able to rebuild, hopefully in a far more resilient manner, in a manner that will still be fun to enjoy and be part of, but one that will hopefully withstand floods. Standing here by Left Hand Creek, it's also important to point out that Left Hand Creek flooded during the 2013 flood. It was different, however, than the St. Vrain because we had just completed some major storm drainage improvements along Left Hand Creek. In doing so, the creek was able to carry the majority of the flow. We still had a few homes damaged, but we would have had literally hundreds of homes flooded in along Left Hand Creek had we not been fortunate enough to have that project done. And I would be remiss if I didn't go and mention that, by the way, the city had significant help from our federal and state officials. FEMA funds were used to do the original project, and we're working closely with FEMA as we do rebuilding of many projects going forward. The flood of 2013 was massive. Probably biblical, historic, and I hope to God I never see another one like that. But we have learned many lessons from the flood. One of the lessons is that we want to be a more resilient community going forward. And I think the way Longmont has come together and decided, enough's enough. We need to do better along our creeks. We can have beautiful creeks and pathways, but they can also serve as flood control and flood protection for people and property. Unfortunately, we did have another big event in 2015. And if you look at Left Hand Creek here, a lot of debris, a lot of sediment came into the creek because upstream of Longmont, the creek is still heavily damaged. And whenever high flows occur, the creek is sloughing in and bringing all that silt and sand and gravel down into this stretch. So we're going to be doing another project here along Left Hand Creek to really remove some of that additional sediment. And then hopefully with our partnership with Boulder County and the state, we'll figure out longer term solutions from here upstream along Left Hand Creek as well. I also want to mention a little bit about Kanemoto Park. I mean, the park behind us is beautiful to look at right now. We did extensive rebuilding on the park itself as well as the pool. It really is a gem, and it is a sort of a much-loved park for this neighborhood. And I think it's our responsibility as a city to do the best we can to keep it maintained. With regards to the Tower of Compassion behind us, it was looking pretty sorry. It had served us well for many years from the time that the Kanemoto family donated it to the city, and honestly, we had not done as good a job as we should have to keep it in good shape. And so we took the opportunity while we were rebuilding the park to also refurbish the Tower of Compassion, and I hope we did a good job. I hope we did okay. With that, I want to turn it over to the Kanemoto family, to Ken and to Ed, to say, excuse me. First, I'm going to turn it over to Leona Stacker. This MC stuff is sort of my second job. Leona Stacker, our former mayor and member of the Longmont Sister Cities, is going to talk to us a little bit. So, Leona. Get that right.
Well, this really is an opportunity to honor the Kanemoto family. But I want to speak to you this morning on behalf of the Longmont Sister Cities Association. I'm rather convinced that we would not have this wonderful association with Chino, Japan, had it not been for Jimmy Kanemoto and also our beloved Bill Hosokawa, who was the honorary consul general of Japan. We had a close association with Bill, and he helped us in many ways, including economic development. Our association began 25 years ago. As most of you know, we celebrated that anniversary this year. Next year, we'll be celebrating the 20th anniversary of our relationship with Ciudad Guzman in Mexico. And the wonderful young people who are here today really exemplify what we mean with the Sister Cities Association of bringing the world together, one friendship at a time. And not only have these young people had their lives enriched, but those of us adults who've had many opportunities to be with our sister city friends in Chino and Ciudad Guzman have been enriched for our entire lifetime. Jimmy and Chio opened their home many times to our students who came. There was also this group of ladies calling themselves the Aspen Ladies. They traveled to Aspen with Jimmy, so that was their little moniker. And they really considered Jimmy their father in Longmont. They traveled together, even to Mexico, and they had wonderful memories. The Chino group also made monetary contributions to purchase trees for the cherry grove that will be here someday in Kanemoto Park. When our area was hit by the devastating floods, of course, they immediately went to work. They sent the equivalent of $10,000 to Longmont to help with the flood victims, not only to help repair the pagoda, but it helped a displaced family in Lyons, as well as Lyons students who had planned a band trip and didn't have the funds, so that was also one of the ways that they helped. Jimmy and his brother George married sisters, Chio and Jane. The last of the remaining foursome died a few weeks ago, and you'll see this beautiful plant down here, the orchid. The Aspen ladies sent flowers in memory of Jane. The Tower of Compassion is not just a meaning to the Longmont Sister Cities Association, but truly to our entire community. Especially want to recognize that the tower is a symbol for the Rotary Club of Longmont. And I have treasured this. It says Mayor Leona Stacker, and Jimmy brought this to my office one day. And those of us who have the privilege of being a member of the Longmont Rotary Club know how, well, Jimmy just loved Rotary, and he was a lifetime member. I think he attended more international conferences than anyone else that I know of. And I also want to thank the hardworking members of the Longmont Sister Cities Association. I don't think anyone can understand how much effort and time they put in so that all of us can enjoy the fruits of their labor. And I'm going to be unabashedly asking anyone here who has any time left in their schedule, please volunteer for the Longmont Sister Cities Association. They could use some board members, I believe. And those of you who have worked so diligently, we would really like to encourage you, because you are the ones who will be blessed. So all I would want to say is, may this wonderful park and this Tower of Compassion always be a symbol of our friendship and lifelong memories. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Stacker, for those words. The next individual that I want to introduce and have come up and speak to us a little bit is a member of the Chino City staff. It is Kaori Noake, and she's going to come up and talk to us a little bit about a message from Chino. Welcome.
こんにちは。私は茅野市の職員野明香織です。Hello, I'm Kaori Noake, City Hall Officer and Representative of Chino City. 今日、このロングモント市の象徴でもある金本パークでの再建のセレモニーに参加させていただけることを大変光栄に思っております。茅野市とロングモント市が姉妹都市提携を結んだ1990年の前年に茅野市から6人の調査団が派遣された時からジム金本様と茅野市の多くの市民とのつながりができました。その後はロングモント市のお父さんのように物心両面で姉妹都市交流を支えてくださったことに対し心より感謝申し上げます。ジム金本様のお宅には前茅野市長やNPO 法人茅野国際クラブ会長、会員、茅野市の職員など大変多く茅野の市民が滞在、訪問させていただき、長年にわたりお世話になりました。金本ファミリーがロングモント市に寄贈された金本パークと慈悲の塔と名付けられたこの五重塔は、私ども茅野市民にとっても心のふるさとのように思います。この慈悲の塔に見守られて、 今後とも茅野市とロングモント市との交流が末永く続いていくことを心より願っております。ありがとうございました。Thank you very much. We love Longmont.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd also like to recognize the city staff that really played a big role in getting the renovation of the park done, as well as the renovation of the Tower of Compassion. And so over here on my right, David Bell, our Natural Resources Manager. Paula Fitzgerald, who really did spearhead the renovation of the tower and did a great job. Paula, thank you for that. And Steve Ransweiler, who had the fun of getting this pool and park rebuilt, along with partnership from our parks operations team. And so it really was sort of a team effort to get it all reestablished and rebuilt so that we can enjoy it today. Now I would like to introduce Ken and Ed Kanemoto to come up and share some words with us as well today.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Ed Kanemoto, and Ken's going to be pulling the big load today. I'm here to help thank the Aspen ladies for this beautiful floral tribute. As mentioned earlier, our mom, Jane Kanemoto, passed away 1 month and 1 day ago. Mom's life epitomized the 5 levels of the Tower of Compassion, but a very important element of her life was a close relationship with a special group of friends from our sister city, Chino, Japan. They were affectionately known as the Aspen Ladies. And while unable to be here today, they provided a beautiful floral tribute to Mom. And on behalf of Mom's family, we extend our deepest and heartfelt gratitude to the Aspen Ladies. They, the citizens of Chino, and the Sister Cities program are an important part of the real meaning of the Tower of Compassion. With Mom's passing, as Leona mentioned, that was a passing of a generation of the Kanemoto family. But today, I believe there are almost 30 descendants or direct descendants of the family here, and we're very proud to have you. And I feel confident that Jim, Chio, George, and Jane would be proud of them as well. And thanks to the compassion of the citizens of Longmont, the opportunities, the fantastic quality of life, we are proud to be in Longmont, the home we affectionately refer to as the center of the universe.
Are you getting tired of standing? I got a few pages here, but the font is big because I can't see. So, since World War II, the family partnership, which included my dad, Jim Kanemoto, and his brother George, and their wives Chio and Jane, wanted to think of some way to thank the town of Longmont for the way their families were treated, the support they received, and the friendships they kept during World War II. They knew how fortunate they were to live in Longmont, which wasn't the case for the majority of Japanese families in the United States. You've heard of the internment camps, and even the ones that were not forced to go often were not treated well during these times. Starting in 1963, their farm with fields of cabbage, onions, tomatoes, and other vegetables started developing into Southmore Park. In 1966, our parents gave this particular site for parkland in honor of Jim and George's father, who passed away in 1935. This land is next to the 10 acres that they gave for Burlington School. The city honored our families by naming this park Kanemoto Park. Mom and Dad, on a trip to Japan, were inspired by the beauty and grace of the pagodas they saw. Dad got the idea that this was a gift that the families could give to Longmont, a gift that was unique, visually pleasing, and would carry a deep meaning that could make a positive change to the community. Our parents called it the Tower of Compassion, with each floor or level making up an aspect of compassion. So how to build it? Finding an architect and contractor with pagoda experience anywhere in this country was probably like finding hen's teeth. Can you see Dad going into the building department and them saying to Dad, "You want to build a what?" All I could say is the city must have had a lot of faith in Dad. In 1973, Dad found a contractor, Reed Burton Construction Company in Fort Collins, to design and erect the steel structure. Dean Reynolds Enterprise of Longmont did all the woodwork and exterior finish, and Branch Electric of Longmont did all the electrical work. None had ever even seen a pagoda, but they went by pictures and Dad's overseeing the project. The recent condition of the pagoda was worse than initially thought. Paula Fitzgerald with the Parks and Recreation Department was the one in charge of directing the day-to-day restoration. Paula said all the siding, much of the other woodwork, and all the roofs on each level needed replacement. The interior also needed a lot of work. After all, for 43 years, the pagoda was also condos for pigeons. Like a lot of projects, the restoration costs were more than originally thought, but the city found a way to complete the restoration. With my Aunt Jane's passing this year, there is no one left from that greatest generation in our families. Their children, including myself, are my sister Joyce Williams and my cousins Ed Kanemoto, Dale Kanemoto, Gail Hogsett, and Karen Wood. Many of the grandchildren of our parents are here also. We wish to thank the City of Longmont for believing that the pagoda continues to be a city treasure and putting a high priority on its renovation rather than continuing to deteriorate and eventually torn down. Thanks to Mayor Combe and the City Council for giving the okay for the restoration of the park, City Manager Dominguez, Dale Rademacher, the Parks and Recreation Department, and others at the city involved in the renovation and restoration. We also thank the many organizations and individuals for their financial contribution. all was needed to enable us to have this rededication today. Also, a special thanks, like Ed said, to the Longmont sister city, Chino, Japan, for their generous contribution. And we want to thank all of you for your presence for this rededication ceremony of Kanemoto Park. Doesn't the park look great again? We found a few of Dad's notes in his speech at the original dedication of the pagoda. I'd like to end with some of his quotes from that speech given in 1973. He says, "Today is really a momentous day for the Kanemoto families. I want to thank all of you very much for coming to add to this special occasion. I want to thank Governor John Vanderhoof for honoring us with his presence at this presentation ceremony of the Tower of Compassion. We hope that this Tower of Compassion, with its visual pleasure, will bring the feeling of peaceful tranquility and enrich the lives of the people in this great community. Our families have been living in the Longmont community for 54 years. We appreciate the many help, friendship, and kindness given to all of us. To express our sincere gratitude, our families want to give something to the people of Longmont that is unusual and also has a deep meaning. This 5-story pagoda is unusual because I do not believe there is another one like it in the United States outside of San Francisco. As the sign reads, compassion is living the life of love, empathy, understanding, gratitude of all things, and giving selflessly of oneself for the happiness of all beings. It is not just the buildings, streets, and parks that make a good city. It is also the people, the relationship of people with people. Compassion brings people together instead of pulling them apart. With compassion, we can have a great community. So on behalf of the Kanemoto families, it gives me great pleasure to give to the wonderful people of Longmont through its mayor, Mr. Gaddis, and City Council, this Tower of Compassion. Those were Dad's words in 1973. And the Kanemoto families thank all of you for being here. Thank you.
Ken and Ed, thank you so much for those words. I think those are words of wisdom that, especially in today's times, we can all take heart of and reflect on the importance of compassion in our lives and in dealing with others around us. Now we have the benefit and the enjoyment of having a kendo demonstration off to my right. It is presented by Kotaro Kase and Kiyoshi Kase, who are going to give us a demonstration of kendo. So please have your attention off to the right. Thank you very much for that that demonstration. That was interesting. I would be remiss at this point if I did not acknowledge, and I would like us all to give a big hand of applause to the Kanemoto family and everything that they have done for this community. I think Longmont is truly a better place because of them, and we're fortunate. Our last item on today's program is to have a blessing of the temple from John Hughes, who is the sensei of the Longmont Buddhist Temple.
Good morning, everyone. Ohayo kodomo taichi. Buenos hijos de la mañana. As we rededicate the Tower of Compassion this morning, please contemplate for a moment the meaning of compassion. Compassion is the response to suffering of others that motivates a desire to help. We live in a very dangerous world, filled with hatred, distrust, enmity. We can buy into that, or we can refuse to buy into that. It's our choice. I believe the driving force behind the division in this world is fear. Fear cannot be defeated with hatred. The only way to defeat fear is love. Compassion is love in action. It's not just feeling bad that someone else is suffering. It's the motivation to help those who suffer. As the TV commercial that's running during the Olympics right now says, we are more alike than different, my friends. This sentiment reflects what this tower embodies. The Tower of Compassion was in dire need of repairs prior to the flooding, and it was in danger of not surviving after the flood. The city had to decide whether or not to save the pagoda and everything that it means as a symbol of Longmont, a city of compassion. As we stand here today in front of the newly renovated tower, we see the power of compassion in action. Representatives from Longmont's sister cities, Chino in Japan, Ciudad Guzman, Mexico, are in attendance, and we are glad you're here today because it's through the interaction of different people in different ways that we have a chance to come together as a human family. I'm really sad that Jane is not here today. She, as you've heard before, was the last of her generation. She had the biggest, most beautiful smile. And I have something that was lent to me. And I love the picture on the front, but her daughter told me to show the picture on the back, which is Jane holding a bottle of beer. So it would have been possible for the city of Longmont to be like so many other areas in the United States during and right after World War II, and really be divisive towards the Japanese population. And it's very much to the power of the people of this town that did not happen. And in large part because of that, I have a spiritual home at Longmont Buddhist Temple. The Japanese families that lived in the Platte River Valley were never made to feel like they weren't part of America. And I am very, very grateful for that. So, in closing, as we rededicate this tower, I will share the words of Shinran Shonin, the founder of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, that's represented by this tower. Although I too am within Amita's grasp, blind passions obstruct my eyes and I cannot see the light. Nevertheless, great compassion untiringly and constantly illuminates me. May the infinite light of the compassion of Amida Buddha always illuminate us. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida, Namo Amida.
Well, that concludes our ceremony today, and I really want to thank everybody for coming out for it. This is a great celebration. We're going to have many of these going forward as our town continues to recover from the flood. And again, everybody have a great week. It's a beautiful, beautiful week to be here in Longmont. Thank you.